Hello everyone, what is up? It is me, AlbyMTG, and today we're going to be talking about the judge kind of interaction slash bad templating slash bad formatting of Teferi, Hero of Dominaria. This is something that has recently come out now that Dominaria is out on Magic the Gathering Online. We've been seeing this thing kind of pop up, and it's kind of interesting in terms of competitive play. If you just play in paper and you don't play, in competitive events like a PBTQ or a GB, anything like that, then this really doesn't concern you too much. But nonetheless, we're going to go ahead and talk about this rule for those of you who do play in those events, or for those of you who do play on MitGo, where this rule is kind of becoming relevant. Not even this rule, but I guess, bad formatting slash bad templating from Wizards on the case of Teferi, Hero of Dominaria. So as you can see, Teferi has three abilities here. The one that we're going to be focusing on is the +1 ability, so you can +1 Teferi to draw a card, and at the beginning of the next my apologies, draw a card at the beginning of the next end step, untap 2 lands. The big thing that this is coming up with on MitGo is that the final three words, untap 2 lands, this is not a May ability, and this is not a targeted ability, so you do have to untap 2 lands. The way that this is kind of coming up, which is weird, is you can't untap 2 lands which are already untapped. If it would say target 2 lands, or if it was a May ability, or anything like that, or if it said like up to 2 lands, then you'd be fine. But where this is actually coming up is on Magic the Gathering Online. People are just letting this ability happen, and then as they go and try and untap 2 lands which are already untapped, it's saying that it's not a legal play, and you actually have to untap 2 of your opponent's lands if those are the only 2 lands that are currently tapped, which is kind of crazy. That allows your opponent to maybe do something like end of turn Lightning Strike the Teferi, untap Lightning Strike the Teferi again when normally they wouldn't be able to. Say if they only had, I don't know, 3 mana for some reason, you'd be able to untap, or you would have to untap their 2 lands. That way they'd be able to kill the Teferi using their 2 Lightning Strikes when they wouldn't have been able to previously, had it been templated differently. This is just a really weird kind of interaction slash templating on Wizards' part. I can confirm that this is true. We can see here on Twitter, someone by the name of Miles Butler Wolf at Kyle O'Meters asked Matt Tabak, Matt Tabak being senior editor at Wizards of the Coast. He said, "For Teferi, Hero of Dominaria, do I have to untap my opponent's lands if I have none tapped?" And as you can see here, the response from Matt Tabak, yes, you can always tap 2 lands before the ability resolves to get around this. The problem is that if people don't know about this rule, they're not untapping the 2 lands before the ability resolves, and they're just letting the ability resolve, thinking that they can just untap 2 untapped lands already, thinking that nothing's going to happen, and then they give their opponents 2 extra mana to possibly do something with. And so it's really creating kind of a little bit of buzz right now on Magic the Gathering Online is kind of where you're seeing this. And for people who don't know this rule, this is also going to end up mattering if you play in competitive events such as GPs and PBTQs, because if your opponent attempts to pass the turn and then just says, yeah, untap trigger, untap these 2 lands of mine, and then, go, it's going to be assumed that they want the ability to resolve. So if you say, no, that's not how that works, you have to untap 2 of my lands, you're going to see some rules interactions like that at competitive events, which are kind of unfortunate. But if you don't know this rule ahead of time, then you're just going to end up getting burned by that. It's kind of weird. Had Teferi said, untap up to 2 lands, or you may untap 2 lands, if any of those would have been added in, then we wouldn't have this problem with Teferi's +1 ability. And you can see many Planeswalkers in the past have the up to text when it comes to things like this. So it's kind of weird that they didn't include that on Teferi. Of course, like Matt Tabak said in his response, you can just get around this by tapping 2 lands in response to the ability before the ability itself resolves. And then you can just untap your own 2 lands. But again, like I said, for people who don't already know this, it can definitely hurt them. So this is just kind of like a public service announcement kind of thing, I guess, where you can now know that if this happens and you're playing Teferi, be sure to have 2 of your lands tapped, that you can untap them, because you don't want to give your opponent any advantage whatsoever. And then you also know that if you're playing at a competitive event, that if your opponent tries to do this, you have to tell them that, you know, that's not a legal play. They have to untap 2 lands which aren't currently tapped, or which aren't currently untapped. So it's it's kind of crazy. It's kind of weird, and I think it's also kind of neat. One of my friends is studying to become a judge, so I think that these kind of random judge interactions are just kind of cool. Now that I've kind of seen him going through and learning the process of all these different rules, interactions, and things. So that's been today's video. Teferi, Hero of Dominaria, having a little trouble with the formatting when it comes to his +1 ability. A little bit of problems here, but now you guys know about it, so you won't make the mistake that many have been making on MTGO recently. So now you guys know, Teferi, Hero of Dominaria, a little bit of a problem with the +1 ability. If you guys just play in paper at FNM and things like that, you guys don't have to worry too much, but at PPTQs, GPs, and on Magic the Gathering Online, this does matter quite a bit. So now you guys know, now you guys can be prepared in case you're planning on playing with Teferi, Hero of Dominaria in the future. If you guys did enjoy this video and you found it informative, a thumbs up on the video would be absolutely extremely appreciated. And if you guys want to see more content from me, of course the subscription button is always there as well. If you guys want to go ahead and subscribe, that would be absolutely fantastic. I do post daily videos here to the channel all about Magic the Gathering. Sometimes short little things like the Teferi, Hero of Dominaria, just a little tidbit of information. Other times things like deck techs and top 10s, etc. All sorts of things. So if you guys did enjoy the video, like I said, leave a like, and I will see you guys here tomorrow for yet another daily MTG video.